Bernard McCurry.
So Bernie.
This is Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
What is this?
77 WABC.
He takes the snap. He looks. He throws. Odell Beckham Jr. Catch defender down. 40, 45, 50. 45, 40. Banks it out left 30. 25, 20. Down the left sideline. 10, 5. Touchdown. Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh, baby. Now that's a way to start a Monday morning for the first time in 4 weeks. A New York football Giant victory. Always a victory on this show. Welcome back, folks. Hope you had a great weekend to the Bernie and Sid show right here on legendary 77 WABC. And the Giants beat the Ravens 27-23. Eli Manning over 400 yards, but half of those, if not more, to Odell Beckham Jr. A couple of touchdowns. And this is why you got to love the guy. He may be a jerk-off and a diva and annoying and all those things, Bernard, but he wants to win. And when they need a victory, he's the guy that comes up big. He is a winner.
Well, he is on the front page of the New York Post this morning.
Which is ridiculous.
Apparently, he was talking to the net. I didn't see this.
Yes, he's done that a couple of times. He actually got tangled with the net. He lost a fight with a net earlier this season.
He's a half a screwball, but he did have the sense to ignore Lena Dunham at some function.
That's true.
At the Met Gala or something. That and the fact that he wore those patriotic cleats on 9/11 when
him and Victor Cruz,
the other schmucks were taking a knee. So I cut him a lot of slack.
He's still a jerk.
OBJ is
but he's a
cool,
great player.
Cool with me, baby.
You love OBJ?
I still hate the Giants after what they did to Tom Coughlin.
You stop at that already?
That was a horrible, horrendous, selfish
What do you want?
act.
Employ the guy? The guy wrote his laurels on 2 Super Bowls. They didn't win the last 4 years.
Threw him under the bus. And
it was enough.
This Bob McAdoo is no better. Whatever the freak
Bob
his name
McAdoo is one of the greatest NBA players of all time. Unfortunately, the Giant coach is Ben McAdoo.
That guy.
Yeah,
he
sucks. And the Giants, and let me say this, the Giants are 3-3. They snapped a 3-game losing streak. They got the win, but they still stink.
Well,
they stink.
The Giants on their the official roster of the teams they're going to play for the year, they list all the teams by their name. The Chiefs, the Jets, the 49ers, whatever. But when it comes to Washington, they won't say the Redskins.
Neither does our good friend Phil Simms. He no longer on the telecast with Jim Nantz will ever say Redskins. He calls them Washington.
You know, Phil Mushnick really was tough on both Nantz and Simms, that they caved in, that they sold out.
No good.
They're politically correct.
No good. Those are my boys.
Those are my boys. Listen, I love Phil Simms.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But what?
You got to call him as you see him.
No, you don't.
Why not?
Well, let's
some balls. Come on.
Let's be honest for a second.
Let's have some balls.
Let's be honest.
First of all, with the Redskin thing, they did a poll of Native Americans.
They don't care.
98% of them don't give a damn peace pipe about it. They just don't give a blank. And so it was a total media manufactured a bunch of feigned outrage.
I agree, again. But there's something to.
So for Phil Simms to buy into that nonsense is stupid.
But I'm loyal to Phil. I don't care.
And for the Giants to do so is equally stupid and offensive.
I am loyal to Phil. And listen, it's equally as stupid and offensive for you to defend Donald Trump every single day, but you're loyal to the guy. That's part of your charm and appeal. You're loyal. You've been there from day one. And no matter what stupid thing he does, you're going to be there for the guy.
Phil Simms is loyal to some mysterious Apaches who were offended by the Redskins. And they're not, of course, as I just pointed out.
I think it's ridiculous, too, but I'm loyal to Phil Simms. So I won't allow you to yell at Phil Simms, even though I think it's ridiculous, too.
You brought up Phil Simms. I brought up the Giants. I wasn't going after Phil Simms.
Yeah, but you had to bring up Phil Mushnick?
I brought up the Giants, and you brought up Phil Simms and what he said.
What did he find? 1 week he couldn't bash Mike Francesa, so he found Jim Nantz. You know, he used to bash me quite a bit, too. In fact, in my book, I destroy Phil Mushnick, but we have since made up. We're good now.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. But for the record, I went after the Giants, and you brought up Phil Simms.
Okay, but
record.
But then you went after Phil Simms.
No, I did. I had to say why. I mean, you know. But look, what am I going to? I got to keep it real. He could come on the show. We could fight about it if he wants to.
I don't think he wants to.
No, he doesn't.
No,
because him and Jim Nantz they've sold out.
They've sold out.
They don't buy into controversy.
They're both voting.
They don't wade into it.
And you know they're both voting for Hillary too. You know that. I mean, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, and maybe Jim and Phil will call now and get upset, but you know Nantz and Simms are voting for Hillary. You know that.
I don't know anything.
Oh, come on. White suburbia, Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. White suburbia, Connecticut. Who do you think they're voting
Phil
for?
Sims is a Kentucky guy.
He is.
Yes. And
even better for Hillary.
Jim Nance, I think he's a Canuck. I don't know what the hell he is. But look, the good news from yesterday is
besides the Giants winning,
that punk Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
He got eviscerated yesterday.
He
on the
got
field,
killed.
Right?
Chip Kelly decided to bench Blaine Gabbert, who's an awful quarterback, in favor of the backup as San Francisco took on Rex Ryan in Buffalo, and the Bills destroyed the 49ers yesterday. So if you don't like Kaepernick, and you and I certainly don't, I don't know why you would, then yesterday was a great day. The Giants win and Kaepernick loses.
And I'll bring Trump into it. A Trump supporter, Rex Ryan, got it done, baby. Rexy, sexy Rexy.
Sexy Rexy.
He did. He squashed the weasel, the punk, who's, once again, manufactured out. Grandstanding is what it is. Selfish grandstanding that's only hurting the situation and making the country more divided and maybe hurting the NFL in the process. Ratings down 14%. So far this year, and a lot of people are saying, oh, is it the election? Is it the Kaepernick effect? Or one of the other theories out there is that it's due to this concussion brain damage thing. Kids are not going into football. Not as many kids are going in, so there's less interest. Maybe football is on the wane.
Well, the numbers say that. This is just my opinion, and I could be proven wrong somewhere down the road. I don't think concussions matter. They've been going on forever. There are football players who played 40, 50 years ago who can't walk from the bed to the refrigerator. That's not a new story. Kaepernick, I think people were genuinely pissed. I know you and I were, but people were pissed about Ray Rice. They were pissed about the guy on Dallas who punched his wife out, and they come back to the sport. For me, this is just my opinion. The one thing that is killing the NFL is the election. I believe this election is taking a piece of everything else out there today, because when you walk by the water cooler, whether you're working at WFAN or WABC, they're not talking about Eli Manning. They're not talking about Jets and Cardinals tonight. They're talking Trump and Clinton.
Well, the ratings are down 14%, which is way more than usual for an election year drop-off, according to Bloomberg News.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a different election year.
So is it? I know that. I'm saying, but maybe it's a combination of the election and the Kaepernick effect.
I would give you 2% Kaepernick, 2% concussions, 10%, not even election. I'll give the credit to your boy, Donald Trump.
My boy Donald Trump, and I would posit this as well. It's not just Colin Kaepernick. It's Roger Goodell and the NFL for tolerating that type of behavior, while they won't allow, say, the Dallas Cowboys to wear decals supporting the Dallas police.
Again, I think you're giving the NFL fans too much credit. They don't know. They don't care. They get up on Sunday morning. You could beat your wife. Right. You could do cocaine. It doesn't matter. They're going to go out there. By the way, they're going to wear the jerseys. Let's not forget, Colin Kaepernick's jersey was the top-selling jersey in the NFL for 3 weeks this year.
Yeah, but that's so people could burn it. That's they were buying it to destroy it.
Right. Oh, that's probably true.
So anyway, normally we would spend an hour on this, but these are not normal times.
No, these are not normal times.
These are not normal times.
But talking about how we started with football today, and I did mention the fact the Jets on Monday Night Football tonight taking on the Cardinals, and they say season on the line. Season's over already, if unless you're a delusional Jet fan. But how about this story? Many, many years ago, you remember this. I think you know this guy. Guy got hurt on the football field. There was a fear he'd never walk again.
Oh, yeah, this is terrible.
And he did walk again. It was an amazing, inspirational story. And he dies in a car accident?
In a car accident that he had no fault in whatsoever. He was driving, and some guy swerved into his lane. Oncoming traffic. The guy was going one way. He was going the other. The other guy swerves into his direction where he was going and kills him.
Wow. Dennis Bird. How old was Dennis?
50 years old.
Oh, my God.
This guy drew the short straw in life.
He did.
I mean, that was awful, terrible. Yeah. But, God rest his soul. It just shows you enjoy every sandwich, Sid. Enjoy every sandwich. My daughter had a friend. He was on his way. He was flying to England, a kid in Long Beach. Flying to England. He was studying abroad. Had what
was the name?
Aneurysm.
I was waiting.
See what he did there?
He was
studying abroad, right?
He had an aneurysm on the plane and died. Yeah. So I mean, you know what I'm saying is enjoy every sandwich. You can't never tell, man.
Right, and something like that can happen, which is tragic and quick. I know I watched this weekend the Thompson funeral. The Brooklyn DA.
Yeah, 50 years old.
50 years old. He died. He found out he was dead in like 5 days.
I know, it's heartbreaking.
Terrible.
So again, once again, every moment matters.
Every moment matters, and not just if, God forbid, you're in a car accident or a plane crash. And talking about cancer, I brought this up to you earlier today. My beautiful wife, Danielle, has run 14 marathons. She just ran Chicago 2 weeks ago. She PR'd it, which means personal record. She had to do that in an attempt to qualify for the Boston Marathon. Bernard, she's run Rome, she's run Paris, she's run London, New York a couple of times, Chicago a couple of times, Big Sur a couple of times. She's never run Boston, which is really the granddaddy of them all. So she qualified, and she's actually running this year with the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute group, and she's raising money for cancer. So anybody a friend, a family member, rooting on Danielle in April on Patriot Day in the Boston Marathon, you can donate. Just go to my Facebook page, Sid Rosenberg's Facebook page. Donate $10, doesn't matter. $15, $20. And she's going to raise money to help fight cancer in this one.
Fantastic. Good luck to her. And yes, the Bernie and Sid Facebook page, you say?
It's on both
Sid
Bernie
Rosenberg?
and Sid and Sid Rosenberg, both.
Look, she has to run off a lot of stress, clearly.
Yeah,
it's no accident that she chose marathon running.
Yes,
but anyway, so that's a good.
But she does come home. She runs all the way away, but then she does run back.
Right. Okay. Well, she comes back anyway. I don't know if she runs back. So anyway, the big news, you have the debate coming up Wednesday night, and another shoe's going to drop. Hillary's going to do something. She's going to drop some sort of another October surprise. She's got to up the ante from what she did in the past two debates.
It's over. Why?
And now here's what the sad thing is, though, this guy Julian Assange.
He's they banned him. He's off the internet. That's it.
Apparently, as you know, he's stuck in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, and they cut off his internet.
Yes, they
did. The
WikiLeaks
WikiLeaks guy, they cut off his internet just before the last debate.
Because it was obviously working the last couple of weeks for Trump. All those emails really came back to bite Clinton in the ass, huh?
Well, but he was maybe saving the best for last.
Oh, stop.
So the big question is, with Assange's internet cut off, the big question is, how the hell is he going to masturbate?
Right. That's a great question.
People just want to know.
I swear to God, we did not talk about this before the show. I swear we did not, and I swear to you, I thought the same thing.
You can only, the imagination can only go so far, right? For God's sakes.
Right.
This is a horrible tragedy.
Horrible tragedy.
And plus, it's, the other shoes.
Do you need to see porn, or you can't imagine? Because women, we could just picture stuff in our heads.
Is that what you do?
Scenarios.
You're different. You guys are different. Men are much more visual than women. You guys actually have imagination, and we're like just barbarians.
We want to see it going up and down.
Right, the whole thing. We're disgusting. Hey, on a serious note, though, and I know Imus brought this up I thought you guys had a great conversation this morning, you and Imus. And he's been doing this now for a while. It didn't start today, but it is clearly obvious with his nonsense about the rigged election. And I heard you explain it this morning, and you had some very fair points, but the election's not rigged. That's nonsense. And if it is, it's been rigged forever. And attacking Paul Ryan, it is clear that your boy is already making excuses, throwing up the white flag for an inevitable loss coming up in 2 weeks.
You may very well be right. The good news is that there's a Washington Post ABC News poll that has the race 4 points apart, 47% for Clinton, 43% for Trump. And there's an NBC poll that has Clinton up 11%. But anyway.
And Fox has her up 7. So it's probably somewhere in the middle. So if it's 7 points, he's not coming back from that.
But as far as the election being rigged, I mean, you and I know the media, he's right about that.
100% right.
The Justice Department.
But he's talking about how the actual polls.
He's talking about everything.
Well, the media, I'll agree with you there. I've defended Donald
He
there.
didn't bring this up, but I will. The Justice Department, was that not rigged with Hillary meeting
Bill meeting Loretta Lynch?
Bill meeting the Attorney General on the tarmac?
I don't think Loretta Lynch knew he was coming.
And then that non-indictment 4 days later?
Yeah.
That's rigged. I mean, if she was an indicted person running for president, I don't think she would win. I don't think she would even be running right now.
You're making your points are fair and accurate, and I agree with all of them. He's not talking about that. He's talking about when you show up on election day, he believes there's something going on that day that will not allow him to win if he's able. What you're talking about is fair, but that's not what he's talking about.
He's talking about that, and
he's
talking about what you're saying, plus the other things. Now, also
you are
on the polls itself. We had the Manhattan Board of Elections commissioner in Manhattan. admit on a tape. It's a boring tape, but I have it.
Yeah.
That the system is rigged here in New York City, as the system is in most major Democratic cities, because they're all Democratic.
A Loyola study came out this morning, and here's a study that was done. 31 million voters. They found 36 cases of fraud. That is hardly a rigged election. And by the way, it didn't start with Donald Trump. So if you believe it's rigged, it was rigged. when George Bush won twice.
I don't say it's dead people have been voting for a long time for Democrats. 1-800-848.
How did Bush win twice?
9222.
How did Bush win twice?
I'm not saying it tilts the election. It can maybe in a certain swing state.
Sure.
But there is widespread. You should have to produce an ID at the voting booth.
The Democrats have an edge. There's no question about it. But Republicans have won before. So the point is, why
true.
now? Why isn't? And I think I hit it on the head this morning. Trump had a chance to win this. It was always going to be difficult. There's no question. Clinton's a monster. Her team are a bunch of monsters. The Electoral College does favor the Democrat. It was a very long shot that Trump would win. But to his credit, he was right there. You know who effed it up? Not the polls, not the election centers, Donald Trump. If he loses this, it's on him.
Hillary Clinton and the media collusion, I think that was a big part. 1-800-848-9222. Bernie and Sid back after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and traffic. Comes to talk. 77 WABC.
Let me start by stating right up front that if I'm elected president, the Indian and Hindu community will have a true friend in the White House. That I can guarantee you, that I can tell you.
Back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC. There he is, the underdog, Mr. Trump, at a Hindus for Trump rally on Saturday.
Indians are doing just fine. Last I checked, they're up 2-0 on Toronto with a chance to go up big in the ALCS later on tonight.
I'm outraged at what you just said. I'm actually offended by it. I'm just
the Indians are doing great. It's 2-0.
Totally.
Come on, they're going back to the World Series.
Now listen, the kind of racist that Trump is, there he was at a Hindu for Trump rally.
You got it. You're kidding me, right?
And I swear to God. And listen to some of the supporters at the rally, what they said about Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that he's going to be probably a greater president than George Washington, because our country is in the dumps.
When Donald Trump says, let's make America great again, that's the reason I was attracted, and I believe that keeping in view his leadership qualities, he will make America great again.
Yeah. He's a doer because he has shown in New York City since 77 when he was nobody, and then he dealt with the Mayor Ed Koch, Giuliani, Bloomberg. These are the very powerful political figures.
Trump has not been racist against Indians, Mexicans, blacks, and maybe Chinese. That is different. Indians are good.
Was that you? Honestly.
No, that was a real.
That wasn't you doing Deepak Chopra?
Indian American, patriotic Indian Americans.
Tremendous.
And as I've said before many, many times, it's not the color of anyone's skin. It's not where they come from. I mean, necessarily where they come from.
Sure.
It's all about what's in their heart. Well, what might be in their heart that we're not sure about.
Right.
That's what it is. And the Hindu people,
they love them.
Fantastic. And I love them. You go to Jackson Heights, that's a fantastic neighborhood out there with all the Indians.
Atlantic Avenue too. Atlantic Avenue was all Indian.
It's great. I mean, New York City is that type of melting pot. I love those hoods.
You do.
You go to Flushing with the Asians out there.
Right. So you don't like Jersey City though, because that's a lot of Muslims.
No, I like it as well.
You sure?
As long as they're not plotting anything.
No, but of course they are. Everyone that comes here is. Every one of them.
No. See,
9 out of 10.
Ahead of yourself.
8 out of 10. What number are you going to give me?
That's what I want to know. Hillary says that half of the Trump supporters are deplorables.
I disagree with that. I think it's 75%.
Give us a statistic about the Muslims.
Okay, you give it to me.
If you're doling out statistics, which I'm not. But she is, so I'd like her to tell us what she thinks of those people.
She's already told you. She's letting more in.
Of the Muslims.
Well, she's letting more in, so she must be okay with them.
She'll quantify and demonize Americans, but she of people who, granted, a small percentage try to blow us up, but of them she won't quantify and demonize those.
A small percentage tries to blow us up.
That's right, and not only tries, have done so in the name of their religion.
Right.
They're twisted. They're twisted radical view.
Very
of the
small.
That's right.
Almost
a
minute percentage.
But you know what? One is too many.
Right. Well, listen.
One is too
many.
many.
Timothy McVeigh was born here, and he blew. He killed more people in Oklahoma City than guess what? The San Bernardino couple, Omar Mateen, the Boston brothers, all those combined.
Sadly, there's nothing we can do about that.
No. The point is, you're not the hatred, the jealousy, the envy, the issues in this world today are so big. You don't need to be Muslim. You can hop onto the ISIS bandwagon now if you want to kill somebody. It's a very easy cause to hop onto now. But there's so many people out there that want to do horrible things that have nothing to do with ISIS.
You're absolutely right. And you get hit by cars and people die. But if you can do something about some of this, you should.
Well, not to keep everybody out of the country. That's a bit much.
You should not wear blinders or turn the other way.
No, there's got to be but there's got to be a happy medium.
Pretend like there's no problem with certain things. That's I think
the problem. The problem is exaggerated, overstated to a state of hysteria with you folks and Trump, and that is equally as disgusting as the few people that do what they do in this country.
Not if you're one of those people down at that nightclub down in Tampa, or wherever the hell it was.
It was Orlando.
Orlando,
right.
If you're one of them,
right,
it ain't as remote and isolated.
Listen, you could be walking the streets of Chicago and get shot every single weekend. They didn't come from Afghanistan.
I know. Sadly,
so stop with the people from Orlando, the people from Boston.
Sadly, there's some things you can't do something about,
right?
And there are other things that you can perhaps take action.
Maybe not.
But anyway, Trump with the Hindus, and the Hindus love Trump.
They love him,
and we love the Hindus.
Well, that
is the upshot.
Listen, that is when they brought us here last January. The first thing they said was, we're hiring you two guys, Bernie and Sid, because you love the Hindus. Wasn't that the first thing Chad Lopez said?
Well, he thought that because, I had a beard and I wore a turban.
Right.
Because, I'm like that. I go to Jackson Heights.
Yes, you do.
And I try to blend in. I try to assimilate because I love me some Indian women.
Unlike Mark Simone, he hates the Hindus.
No doubt about it.
No doubt, right?
Hey, I love Indian food, though. It's delicious. Oh, my God.
Let me tell you I do love the curry.
So good.
Oh, fantastic.
When I was because that's also West Indian, right? Because I've had curry goat in Jamaica.
Not West Indian, no.
What do you mean not West Indian? I've had curried everything in Jamaica, which is the West Indies. You're talking about
no Indian from India food.
I understand that
than the West Indies.
No, curry is curry, doofus. Doesn't matter whether it's in Jamaica or in India. Curry is curry.
I associate Jamaica with spliffs and blunts, not curry chickpeas.
No, I got it. Mushroom tea. I've had all of that down there. I'm with you.
Listen, Trump has a secret weapon. That revealed itself over the weekend. I will tell you what it is, but first, one of the former apprentice contestants is accusing Donald Trump of trying to grope her, and somebody that she worked with was on MSNBC over the weekend and talked about what that contestant said to her.
Oh.
Listen to what she said.
When I was on the show, what people don't know is you're actually sequestered after you're fired from the show. You're sequestered. You cannot go home until filming ends, at which time you're sequestered with all of the other contestants who have been fired. And one of the women specifically, I will never forget this. She said that in the boardroom, Donald Trump said to her, it was a Home Depot task, and she said that he said to her, I'll show you my 9-inch power tool.
Hey now! 9-inch power tool.
That's the kind of criticism that Trump is like, I don't mind that.
No, I'll take that.
It's okay.
I'll take that.
That's not bad.
No, I'll only take that if, in fact, somebody can confirm that he's got it. If he says it himself, that don't mean nothing.
Unless it was actually a tool from Black & Decker or something, But, that's the kind of stuff he'd be like, that's all right. I'll take that. He'll say, that's what he'd say. I'll take that. So anyway, his secret weapon, Sid, came out over the weekend.
All right.
She's actually representing some of the accusers.
Okay. Gloria Allred.
Oh,
I can't stand her.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny you mentioned her because when the whole Tiger Woods scandal broke.
Right.
You realize she represented every single one of those ladies.
She is a grandstanding parasite. She's like, why they hate us is Gloria Allred.
Yeah, she's one of the reasons why. So I did bring her on my show in Florida. And it got very, 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 very ugly.
I'm not surprised.
Did it get ugly?
It couldn't get any better for Trump if Hillary had gotten endorsed by Casey Anthony.
Right.
For God's sakes. I mean, this Gloria Allred woman is detested, loathed, despised.
She is.
She makes that vicious hag Joy Behar look like Taylor Swift.
She was probably a good lawyer at one point, but now she just looks for the case that gets her the most exposure.
It's why people
nasty.
hate lawyers.
Yes.
It's just. She's the embodiment of the worst in the legal profession, is what she is.
I'm with you there.
And so she comes out against Trump and talking trash about him, and people are going to say, oh, really? And that really just discredits all the other accusers, in my humble opinion.
Well, you got to be careful, too. I mean, do you believe that all of these people are lying? Just yes or no. Do you believe that all of these ladies are lying? All of them?
Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cynical about the timing, and
that's fair. But do you believe they're lying? It's cynical. It's fine.
Well, you know what? I don't even want to address that. I really don't. Because
do you believe Bill Clinton's accusers are lying?
Well, here's the difference between Bill Clinton and Bill Cosby and Donald Trump.
Right.
Is that Bill Clinton and Bill Cosby? These things accrued at different times all throughout the years. With Donald Trump, bing bang boom, a month before the election. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
And
they all come out on the same day.
The timing was bad, but you do realize what you're doing is horrible in that you're assuming Bill Clinton is guilty. You're assuming based on the timing Donald Trump is not. See, if you were endorsing Hillary and you did this, you'd be more credible. But the fact that you think Bill is guilty and Donald is not, and you're endorsing Donald Trump, you lose your credibility.
Well, I don't think so because of the time.
Oh, yes, you do.
So, now, if you can talk to me in a month about it, but I don't think it's even fair to address it at this point because of the timing, the way it came out. Yeah. And of course now the woman who sat in first class across from
Miss Leeds, was that Miss Leeds?
Miss Leeds. She said that she was okay with Donald Trump molesting her from the waist up.
Right.
But as soon as he went down between the legs, that was like a bush too far for her. and so. Now, a witness came out, and he says that he was sitting across the way and he didn't see anything.
Right, it was Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, man, where did that guy? Gary from Flushing. Let's go to Gary from Flushing. You're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. By the way, the number is 1-800-848-9222. Gary, good morning.
Yeah, hey, you were just saying that, you wear a turban and you hang out in Jackson Heights.
I love the Hindu Indian people.
If you're hanging out in Jackson Heights, you should be wearing a dress and a wig. It's the transgender capital of New York City.
I know that. That's part of it. That's part of its appeal.
Oh, Gary, he knows.
So, do you look good in the dress and the wig?
Okay.
Well, I think so.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. There's everybody else. Does Sid think so?
Sid? Yeah, Sid likes me.
Yeah, I think he's cute. Yeah.
Hey, did you make a play for him, Sid?
Listen, I got a beautiful wife, but Bernard ain't bad.
Look, we have broad horizons here on the Bernie and Sid show, Gary.
What was that, broad horizons?
What do you look? Hey, by the way, you were in Flushing, the massage capital of the world. What the hell are you talking about?
Massage capital. It's a spa capital in Chinese.
Yes,
spa means
happy ending.
Prostitution.
Right. So don't be casting aspersions on me.
You ain't get your nails done. There's 4 places on every block.
So, seriously, I mean, do you avail yourself of these joints?
No.
Why not?
Of course. I don't have health insurance. How am I going to go to the doctor and get cured afterwards?
Oh, come on. What do they call them? A clean and jerk? What do they call these places?
Squirt. Rub and tug.
Rub and tug. Look at Jill knows. That's what they call them. They call them rub and tug joints. They're all over the place. And it's I guess Flushing and around this neighborhood as well.
Yeah, Sid's
like, I know nothing.
I know nothing. I thought
Flushing like all of a sudden he's Sergeant Schultz over here.
I thought Flushing was the home of the Mets. I had no idea it was Palmer's every single block.
Ernie and Sid back after this.
77 WABC.
What is this?
77 WABC.
As you have seen, I am a victim of one of the great political smear campaigns in the history of our country.
All right, Donald Trump still bitching and whining and complaining. Obviously, he's throwing up the white flag. He knows in 2 weeks he'll be done, so he'll get it all out there. Because God forbid he's at all accountable for the inevitable loss. Back hour number 2 on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC.
Correct you on one thing.
Sure.
3 weeks from tomorrow, right?
Is it already? Is it 3? I thought it was less. Maybe I'm hoping.
I think it's 3 weeks from tomorrow.
God, I've had enough. Maybe that's what it is.
It does seem like an eternity, but I'm keeping hope alive.
Well, you have to.
I'm keeping. I'm not. I'm remaining steadfast. I'm not waving the white flag. A lot of things can happen.
You listen.
I mean, first of all, he's got to come through at this debate.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, he needs a Hail Mary pass. I'll admit it. He's got to come up with like a tape of Bill Clinton, sexually molesting a young girl with Hillary.
It's not going to help.
While Hillary calls her a slut at the same time.
That's not going to help.
Something like that.
He needs a tape of Hillary doing something. We don't care what Bill did.
She'll be there. That's what I'm saying. She'll calling the woman a slut as Bill.
But she's already done that. Hasn't she already
but we need
demonized?
to see video. It's just like the Ray Rice thing.
Oh, I got you.
Until you see
or the Billy
video.
Bush thing, even a better example.
Okay, all right.
You want a video that came back to bite somebody?
But the Ray Rice thing, we all knew exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Once we saw it on video, we need something like that. And with my boy Julian Assange all caged up and the cut off from the internet.
That's over. Right.
And by the way, as I said to you off the air, I mean, it wasn't like 6 months ago. I wanted the guy to be executed.
Right. Well, he's a traitor.
I mean, swinging from the end of a rope.
Right. But now that he was, of course, going after Hillary and supporting Donald Trump, then you loved him.
Of course, and I readily admit it. But he not only that, he's accused of rape. You know why he's in the Ecuadorian embassy?
Because he's accused of rape.
He's wanted in like Scandinavia, Sweden or something for rape.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Listen, the enemy of my enemy, baby.
I hear you. So, but on a serious note, with the last debate coming up on Wednesday in Las Vegas, listen, we have differing opinions. We both agree that she won the first one. I thought she destroyed him. You thought she won.
She won the first one.
I thought she destroyed him. You thought the second one he won, and I keep saying he's got qualifiers. His campaign didn't die. He lived another day. But to be honest, he can never beat her in a debate ever because he can't debate the issues.
All right, so this will be the sort of the rubber match.
So what do you think he has? What do you think he does? What's the philosophy? Is it let me go in there and beat her up again? What does he do on Wednesday?
No, he can't. I mean, what can you do? How can you top bringing in four sex assault victims and a rape victim that she laughed about getting off the rapist, the culprit?
Which, by the way,
how can you top that?
Which, by the way, you could top that. Her numbers have gone up since that second debate, which you thought he won so handily with that brilliant move with the four ladies.
Because of the next day, you had Paul Ryan throwing him under the bus. Then you had, of course, all these women coming out in collusion with the media. Right. That's why I say I'm skeptic because of the timing.
Right.
That's why I say that. And of course, yes. Her numbers went up since then, but because of the media just eclipsed his great performance.
Okay, so what is he? He wasn't great. He was fine. So what does he do Wednesday to?
Well, I the conventional wisdom, and I subscribe to it, is that he has to hit her on the issues, because on the issues he's a winner. If you ask me. On the issues,
well, no, forget about if you ask you.
On the open borders, on the Muslim immigration, on the Supreme Court. By the way, I mentioned before, you have three Supreme Court justices in their 80s. You have to replace Scalia. So the next president is going to pick 4 Supreme Court justices. That's huge. She's going to put a bunch of flaming cut-em-loose Bruces on the bench.
Good.
A bunch of losers who's going to ruin the First Amendment.
Who's going to leave Roe versus Wade alone. They're not going to bother the Second Amendment.
That's settled law. That's not going. That's not even an issue. That's not. Yeah, that's not even an issue. It's not.
Listen,
not at all.
You say it's not your opinion. The facts are. These are facts at this point. When Donald Trump sticks with the issues, his numbers go up. When Donald Trump starts fighting with Miss Universe, fighting with Paul Ryan, defending himself with Billy Bush, his numbers go down. This is not for debate between you and I.
That's what I
These
just
are
said.
facts. No, you're right. So
he's got to hit her on Obamacare.
But when you say, and you've said it time and time again, you continue to say it, that Donald Trump has good instincts, you couldn't be any more wrong. He has horrible instincts, knowing full well what it takes for him to succeed. Day in and day out, he's tweeting at 3 o'clock in the morning. Those are terrible instincts.
2 things. His instincts on the issues are better than hers, and as
in your opinion?
But what eclipses that is his desire to hit back, and that hurts him.
That's bad instincts. If you know you're successful at one thing and you continue to do something else that is not successful, that's not great instincts, Bernard. That's stupid.
Well, as I said, I distinguish between the instincts on the issues. I believe he's right on the issues.
Okay.
And again, I throw out Obamacare.
Right.
Because that is imploding. You have front page of the New York Times today. But you also have demonizing the police. That
if you believe that, right?
The open borders, Muslim immigration, all these things,
right?
And not to mention the fact that she's crooked. I mean the whole Clinton Global Foundation thing is jaw dropping. The way they raped Haiti, they saw the death of 150,000 Haitians during an earthquake as a way to make money for their friends. et cetera, et cetera.
We know
et cetera.
more. We've heard this a million
so
times.
That's what he has to hit her on. That's what he has to hit her on. These things, hammer that home, make that resonate. He has to come off as presidential. She has to seem rattled, or he has to get off a couple of good lines. Now, look, it's an uphill battle right now. There's no question about it. That and maybe some sort of some event that the unforeseen event that we can't even imagine what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And God forbid a terror attack. Who knows what will change the equations? Because according to the ABC poll, it's a 4-point race. NBC point of a poll, it's an 11-point.
So put it
race.
in the middle where Fox is at 7 or 8. You're not coming back in 2+ weeks from 7 points.
It's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks in a day.
You're not coming
3
back.
weeks in a day.
That's a lot. That's a big.
That is a
margin.
lot. But it's not insurmountable. It's not impossible.
It is when you're a lousy candidate. It's insurmountable.
I know. What I'm saying is he's got to become a better candidate. And as far as I'm concerned, he's a good candidate. But you have other people who have to be won over.
Right.
And it's not me.
Right.
And he's got to win them over. 1-800-848-9222. I think he can do it.
You think there's still a lot of undecideds out there? You think? I don't know. I'm asking an honest question. You think there's still a bunch of people out there that don't know?
There are some. I mean, you're going to ask me if we had Dick Morris finally showed up and kept his commitment as he was supposed to. He could tell us. We could ask him.
So now you already bashed Phil Simms on the show today.
I didn't bash
now
Phil
Dick
Simms.
Morris.
That's a lie.
All of our
don't
friends.
Mischaracterize.
Well, you brought up the Redskin thing.
I brought up the Redskins, and you brought up Phil Simms, not me.
No.
I brought up the Redskins in conjunction
Phil Simms with Jim Nantz. They're the best football duo in the business.
The pusillanimous Giants management, when they list their games, they list their opponents as the Jets, the 49ers, the Chiefs. But when it comes to Washington, they put Washington and not the Redskins because they're a bunch of PC pussies.
Right.
And you invoked Phil Simms, not me.
No, not in that particular spot.
Then I said what I said, and then you said Phil Simms says the same. Won't say Redskins either.
No, you see, but now you're backtracking. It's too late.
No, wait a second.
The tape is out there.
The way I just laid it out, the way it happened.
I'm texting Phil right now.
You're wrong.
Bernard,
I love Phil Simms.
Oh my God, he's tattling.
Let me tell Phil Simms.
I love Phil Simms.
Dear Phil.
I never brought Phil Simms up.
Bernard likes Greg Gumbel more than you.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
I know you love Phil, and Phil loves you, and Phil loves his show.
Yes, and Phil's a good man, and I'm sure he's a Trump supporter, but he's from Kentucky. He's from a red state.
He's not a Trump supporter.
He's gone soft on CBS. I will say that him and Nance.
Now he's gone soft.
They don't criticize Kaepernick. You know in their heart they hate Kaepernick. You know it. But they don't say it. Why don't they say it?
Bernard, I'm going to have a tough time selling. You love the guy. Now he's gone soft.
Did you have an answer for that?
Oh, they've gone soft. No question.
Steve from Beacon, New York. Steve, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
Hey, Stevie.
Hey.
Don't pick on Phil. Only I can pick on Phil. Getting back to what Sid was talking about with comparisons between Trump and Clinton and Tiger Woods and Bill Cosby, the only one that's been convicted of any wrongdoing has been Bill Clinton. He's been found to be lying under oath, so they took his license to practice law away. He had to pay $850,000 fine to Paula Jones for exposing himself. So he's the only one that's been
not only that, that and the semen stained dress. He wasn't convicted of anything in that, but yes, he was stone cold busted as having molested an intern in the Oval Office. So yes, and whereas everybody else, forget Bill Cosby, convicted or not convicted, we know he's guilty, but with Donald Trump, it's a bunch of women that came out a month before the election.
No, there's no question that Bill, there's a lot more on Bill. I'm not defending Bill Clinton. Listen, he's an animal. I'm not defending him. All I'm saying is, if you go out there and you say, well, I think Clinton is guilty, but I don't think Trump is, and you're endorsing Trump, it doesn't look good for you. That's all I'm saying. It sounds like you like Donald Trump, so he's not guilty. You're better off in these situations either bowing out or saying, hey, I tend to side with the women. Let's see what else happens.
Well, in addition to the Bill Clinton thing, it's all about Hillary Clinton and her participation. Hillary Clinton is Camille Cosby with rabies, essentially. She's just a vicious, rabid spouse who wrongly slandered and smeared and attacked and threatened Bill's victims, and that's why it's relevant. Paul from Bethpage, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Paul.
Hi, good morning, Bernie. How you doing? Listen, on that,
And Sid.
I don't know if you touched about the page 6 in the Today Post about this tape from 1999, and there was a section that they knew about that they didn't talk about was when Hillary approached Juanita Broaddrick about.
I know what you're talking about.
Something she pulled away from her and she grabbed the hand. I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly maybe embassy is something that they cut out or wouldn't show, And just real quick also with Trump.
But can I stop you a second, Paul? I can clear it up. It is they did initially air it, and then they didn't air it the second time. They did an hour-long special, did NBC, on Juanita Broaddrick. An hour-long special. Lisa Myers was the reporter. But by the way, Tom Brokaw, being the biased clown that he was, he never talked about it on the NBC Nightly News, even though NBC did an hour-long special on it, and they did air it. And she's been out recently. She was on with Sean Hannity. I played it on the Imus in the Morning show last week, where she says that Hillary Clinton grabbed my hand. In fact, we'll grab that tape from last week, Flirty. If Flirty Flipper.
I just want to
grab that tape. We'll play it. But
debate,
I'll let you. But she said it again last week. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. The debate Wednesday night. Trump has a lot of supposedly good former military people retired, and I was in the Marine Corps, and I served and all that. I was in Vietnam. And, I did what I had to do. But he has to focus, number one, national security is the most important thing, I believe, because if you don't have any national security in this country, we are weak all around. And the military is decimated. They're short. Every branch of the service needs something that's been decimated. You just have to project that strength out there in the world, out in the carrier battle groups before anybody takes advantage of us. He's got to stay on message, and if he doesn't, then really it is a lost cause. And for such being a smart man, you have to listen to your advisors and go out there. And I think Chris Wallace will ask pertinent questions, not this other stuff about all this garbage going. I can't. You know what? I might write my own name in to be president because I'm so disgusted. This is really serious. Anyway, Bernie, good luck. I'll see you around and say hello to Sid. And you both you guys are terrific. I should take you for breakfast one time. Give me a call and we'll do it.
Very nice,
my
Paul.
From your assistant. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
I feel your frustration, Paul. And yes, Trump owes it to us to rein it in and come up with a decent, substantive performance.
Well, I think Paul had a very fair point. I hate to keep crapping on the guy. I don't think it matters because he has 2 or 3 points, core issues that he's used for 19 months. He cannot expand on that. That may be enough. But where Paul made a very, very good point was it's about Chris Wallace. Lester Holt didn't exactly help Donald Trump. Raddatz and Cooper killed Donald Trump. And I do believe that Chris Wallace will be the fair moderator. He'll give Donald Trump an opportunity to sound good. Now the question is, outside of 2-3 points that he's said over and over again for 19 months, can Donald do that?
I think he can, but I know Chris Wallace is going to go after Trump as well. I mean, he's a fair guy. He's going to be legit.
He'll be both.
But it's going to be very, very contentious, and they'll clash. They'll lock horns.
That's fine.
More than Chris Wallace and Hillary Clinton.
But the other 3 people just really were completely. I'm defending Donald here. Sided with her. There's no question.
No doubt about it. Now, this is the tape from Juanita Broaddrick talking to Hannity that NBC supposedly omitted from the second airing of their Juanita Broaddrick special or whatever the hell. Take a listen.
Well, just as he moved, here comes Hillary straight for me. Gets to me and she starts saying, I just want to thank you for everything you are doing in Bill's campaign. So I just nodded and told my friend, let's go. And I thought somebody from behind had grabbed a hold of my arm, but it was her. She grabbed a hold of my arm and my hand, and she pulls me into her, and she says with this very angry look on her face and in a low voice says, do you understand everything you do? At that moment, I felt like she knew and that she was telling me to keep quiet.
Now, there you have Bill Clinton's rape victim, a very credible one. Most people believe her, and she's saying that that's what Hillary did.
What do you mean most people believe her? Most Republicans believe her. I haven't spoken to one Democrat that believes Juanita Broaddrick was raped. Not one. Not one.
Bernard Goldberg on O'Reilly, very fair guy. You listen to Michael Goodwin, who voted for Obama in 2008.
Oh, Michael Goodwin is so far up Trump's ass, he's worse than you. Stop.
He another guy wrote for the New York Times, voted for Obama in 2000.
Okay.
In other words,
but he's a Trump guy.
A lot of people do. I'm just saying she's a credible victim, and she says Hillary Clinton did that. And if you're going to air,
I don't buy it.
If you're going to air some lady from 1995, you got to air Juanita Broaddrick saying that Hillary
you got to air both. But if you're going to believe Juanita Broaddrick, then why not believe the other lady?
Well, because she's been out for years. She didn't do it just before an election for apparent political purposes. 1-800-848-9222. Bernie and Sid, back after this.
77 WA.
Back on the Bernie and Sid show on WABC. We will speak to Dick Morrison a little bit, but very quickly on these emails that's not being covered, Sid. This San Bernardino thing, the Rachel Maddow, the guy in MSNBC, the Rachel Maddow-looking dweeb, Christopher Hayes.
Yeah.
He tweeted something, and one of Hillary's campaign flunkies, Karen Finney, she forwarded it to Podesta, talking about how the name of the San Bernardino shooter, his name was Saeed Farouk. So she forwards that with a comment saying, damn. In other words, damn, it was a Muslim causing the problems. And then John Podesta, her campaign manager, responds, better if a guy named Saeed Farouk was reporting that a guy named Christopher Hayes was the shooter. Can you believe that is so effing sleazy? And that doesn't get reported.
Well, Podesta wrote that, though, not Hillary, right?
Yeah, that's right. Her campaign manager. Can you remember all the stuff that Christopher, he grabbed the girl's arm?
Yeah.
Corey Lewandowski? Yeah. It wasn't Trump that did it. It was him. But still, Trump caught all the heat for it anyway.
Right, but Trump didn't fire him. And Trump didn't fire Paul Manafort either until we found out they were taking money from the Russians.
I'm making a point. The media jumps on certain things.
I understand.
And this is particularly.
But I've seen this on Fox News.
This is so sleazy. Of course, on Fox News.
Well, okay, so. Listen, you know where to go to catch your stuff.
It's not catching my stuff. Everybody should know about this. This should be CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, every place. So you get it nowhere. On the New York Times,
when it's all said and done, in 3 weeks,
you get it nowhere.
When Donald Trump loses in 3 weeks, you can continue to bitch and complain that all the nasty, sleazy stuff was never reported.
All I wanted to do was vent about how sleazy these creeps are.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do.
So now
it ain't about post-election. I just wanted to do that today.
Now you vented. It's a fair vent, and I'm telling you, when Donald Trump loses, and he will, he loses because of himself. Not the media, not Anderson Cooper, not the fact that CBS isn't reporting this. Because I got to tell you, every email that comes out from WikiLeaks, I'm a Hillary supporter. I don't care. I'm past that point, and all of our supporters are past that point. It's not like these emails are changing anybody's mind. It's not the media that's losing this election for Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump.
It's the Justice Department and the media.
It's Donald Trump.
And maybe some Trump too.
Maybe some Trump, right?
Listen. He's not doing himself favors by attacking the women that are accusing him.
Right.
But you have to admit, there's the media and the Justice Department and the FBI that with colluding with the Clintons.
The deck is stacked against him. I totally admit it. It's unfair. But he has done knowing that, he has done a horrible job, which says to me, his instincts that you are always pumping up, they suck.
On the issues, they're great.
Well, then talk about the issues. Maybe you have a chance to win.
Okay, let's do it.
Instead of attacking Paul Ryan. Speaking
of the issues, here is Noam with the news.
77 WABC.
Yeah, and Trump says this race far from over. 72 Sunshine Midtown. Here's the story she'll be talking about. 77 WABC.
This is an Election Central 2016 update. WABC.
Republican strategists who do not work for Donald Trump's campaign sounding pessimistic about the GOP's nominee's chances of winning the election. They say Hillary Clinton has, as of now, a firm grip on the 270 Electoral College votes needed to prevail, and that Trump could end up with fewer than 200. Congressman Peter King, who was on with Imus this morning, says it's way too soon for his party to give up on Trump.
We need someone to shake things up, and I think at this time he could serve a real purpose. And after the last 2 or 3 weeks, nobody took more hits than he did, and with all of that, the Washington Post poll Sunday only has him down 4 points.
Trump's latest hit against Clinton charges she might have been on drugs during the last debate, and he worries she'll be on performance-enhancing drugs for the third and final debate in Vegas come Wednesday.
I don't know what's going on with her, but at the beginning of her last debate, she was all pumped up at the beginning, and at the end, it was like, she could barely reach her car. So I think we should take a drug test. I'm willing to do it.
Meanwhile, WikiLeaks, the group that has been releasing hacked email from the Clinton campaign, says access to the internet was disrupted today by what they called a state party, and it came just after WikiLeaks released its 9th batch of Clinton-related emails. They included information about how the candidate could appeal to black voters and deal with the media. Clinton campaign has suggested the Russian government has been supplying WikiLeaks with the emails, a claim both Moscow and WikiLeaks deny. Third final debate Wednesday night in Vegas. You can hear it here, 77 WABC at 9 o'clock. Then after it's over, your chance to weigh in on who won with Rita Cosby at 10:30. New Jersey Transit
WABC.
I can't make an excuse for Bill Clinton's conduct. I wouldn't attempt to make an excuse for the conduct. But he paid the price for it. He paid a price. He was impeached.
Back on the Bernie and Sid show on WABC. That was Joe Biden saying that Bill Clinton paid a price for what he did. He was impeached. He didn't pay a price for any of the women, for example, that Trump brought to the last debate. And he was impeached, but Joe Biden voted against impeachment, against convicting him after impeachment, I should say, for whatever that's worth. But on the line with us right now, Sidney, we have a noted author, and he's an author and a commentator. He used to work as a pollster and a campaign consultant, and he used to work for the Clintons, did Dick Morris. He's got a new book out. It's called Armageddon, How Trump Can Beat Hillary. Armageddon, How Trump Can Beat Hillary. Good morning, Dick Morris.
Good morning. Good to be here with you guys.
Nice to have you back. You were with us, Dick, a couple of months ago, and you were terrific, by the way. And at the time, it seemed like what you wrote about may, in fact, be a possibility. And you hate to wave the white flag. There's still a couple of weeks to go, but it doesn't seem as if there is any way Donald Trump can win this thing. You're going to tell me I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like right now, right?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. He's 5 behind in the Real Clear Politics average, and that's not a landslide. If he does well on Wednesday night, he could put it back together. The disturbing thing here is that the damage to Trump has been done by Trump, and he just needs discipline. And in my book, I outline a very good strategy for someone who really wants to win. And I think Trump has, when he's confronted with the accusations of sexual groping, he says, "Have you looked at her? She's not pretty enough for me to grope." And right in the middle of it, he talks about standing behind Hillary and not being impressed. These are all funny lines for reality TV, but they're not good for a presidential candidate. While all this is happening, and the media is blacking everything else out, there were very damaging leaks coming forth about Hillary's emails. And particularly interesting is I think there is a silent, not so silent actually, propaganda war going on between Obama and Putin, where Obama is threatening Putin with cyber warfare, literally warfare, if he releases Hillary's hacked emails, if he releases the deleted emails that Hillary does not want us to see. I believe Putin probably has all those emails, and he's already released the Democratic Committee ones and a lot of Podesta's and Uma Abedin, and I think he's going to go on to releasing all of Hillary's emails.
All right.
And that'll completely put to rest Hillary's argument, which is that she didn't, our enemy couldn't hack them, because our enemy will show up at the door with all 33,000 of them. And I think that will clearly show how she jeopardized the national security. And I think what's going on now is Obama is trying to threaten Russia with cyber warfare not to release this stuff. And if they do release it, to say that this is Russia intervening in an American election, and they're hoping that that story offsets the damage that will be done by the release of the emails, by their content, and by the fact that our enemy got them all because our Secretary of State was an idiot about how she stored them.
Yeah, very interesting that you believe that Putin's going to release her deleted emails. That's keep hope alive, folks, is what I'm saying. Dick Morris is our guest. His book is Armageddon, How Trump Can Beat Hillary. Now, I will ask you, Dick Morris, you said that Trump is his own worst enemy, and that may be true, but you would agree, I think, that the system is rigged. The Justice Department, the media colluding with the Democrats, and if it was Marco Rubio or Jeb Bush, that Rubio would be a pedophile. Jeb Bush, they'd have him in a Mexican bordello or something. I mean, no matter who the Republican guy would be, they would have slaughtered him.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think the media is incredibly rigged and incredibly biased. But keep your eye on this Russian email thing. This is going to play out big time, because her entire campaign is based, her entire defense on emails is based on two assertions. I did not send or receive classified information, and my system was never hacked by a foreign power. Now it's both of those may be disproven. And what the media is trying to do is to deflect the story and make the story, why is Putin trying to stop Hillary? And how horrible that Russia is interfering in a U.S. election. But they're trying to sit on the real story, which is how come the Secretary of State put all of our secrets out there on a server that anybody could hack or that the Russians could hack. She'd rather the Russians see them than the American people see them. And also, don't discount the content of those emails. They were deleted for a reason. And I think that as we will be able to look through them, the depth of her corruption will increasingly emerge. So keep that white flag and use it as a handkerchief.
I mean, listen, this is what I've been hearing for almost 2 years, this desperation out of Trump supporters. They know he can't win based upon his own merits, based upon his own talents. So hopefully there's something out there with Hillary selling stuff to the Russians or Hillary in bed with Putin. And I'm going to drop a bomb on you, Dick, that you may not want to hear. I'm going to tell you that the Democrats out there will still vote for Hillary Clinton, even if some of these things you're talking about come out there, because that's how much they despise, don't trust Donald Trump, and think that he's a complete buffoon and can't run the country. Even if it comes out, they will still vote for Hillary Clinton. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, well, there certainly are. As Abe Lincoln said, you can fool all the people some of the time and some of the people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that certainly is a good example of that. But we're not saying that Hillary sold the emails to the Russians or anything like that. I'm saying that she handled all of our nation's basic secrets in such a way that our worst enemy could and probably did access them and is now going to publish them. And what you're also looking at, which is far worse than Benghazi, is the United States of America literally threatening war with Russia. A nuclear power, cyber war.
Just what we need.
Easily escalate into real war in order to protect.
But on one hand, you talk about Russia being our worst enemy, and then you've got your candidate out there talking about how him and Russia together are going to defeat ISIS. He likes the fact that Putin thinks he's a qualified leader. So is Donald Trump right or wrong?
I think Putin is despicable, but I think that Trump would win his respect in a way that Hillary never would. I think he regards Hillary as a total pushover, and I don't think that. And I think he'd run right over her. Trump is a formidable adversary to him.
And by the way, Stalin was despicable, but we allied with Stalin because it was in our interest to defeat Hitler. Same thing with the ISIS people, and that's why Trump says we should align with a guy like Putin, and he would have his respect. You're right about that. But as far as the debate, the upcoming debate, so you say that the Russians may drop that bomb on the electorate. But what do you think Hillary Clinton? You know she has something up her sleeve. I hear talk about some explosive allegations she's going to make in the next coming days. What do you think? You used to work for the Clintons. Do you think they're going to drop something?
Yeah, I think they probably have a whole lot more women in the closet, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, so but nothing in particular. Okay, so Trump, he needs a Hail Mary pass at the debate. He has to speak on the issues. And speaking of the media, you used to work for the Clintons. You know George Stephanopoulos used to work for the Clintons. I think he's one of the worst biased guys out there. Who do you know? Who would you name in the media who are some of the worst biased people out there?
Well, the most biased is George because
it is George.
You know, he worked for the Clintons.
Right.
And he remains very close to them. And he's heavily involved, and he's constantly exchanging signals with them. You can always see that, using his position as a journalist to set things up. The guy who did what George did before George did it was Sidney Blumenthal when he worked at the New Yorker magazine. And,
another nice guy.
And basically flacking for the Clintons. I know because I used to work with him.
Sure.
So I think George is absolutely the worst of the worst in that regard.
A sneak.
I want to go back to what you said earlier in the conversation. Dick Morris joining us here, always great. I'm with you. I think Trump, if he loses this, he lost it. Yes, I do believe there is a media bias. I do believe all that is true.
Justice Department.
All that nonsense. But he had a chance to win this. He had a chance to win this, and he's done nothing to help himself. He's 3 weeks before the election, and he's still talking about Paul Ryan. So when it's all said...
The idea that it's rigged is ridiculous.
Of course it's ridiculous.
There is a strong media bias, but come on. With the Internet, we have plenty of opportunity to communicate without the media. With the networks against us, and we obviously can.
Well, but see, that's my point, though, Dick.
Keeps wanting to give this election to Trump, and he keeps giving it back.
Well, that's my point. My point is if the email thing doesn't come out, which really shows that Hillary allowed Putin to get all this stuff, and he's left to his own devices the last couple of weeks, including this debate on Wednesday, can he win?
Yeah, sure he can. There's 3.5 weeks left, and any time, or 3 weeks, 3 weeks left, and any time a candidate, if he got discipline, if he stopped saying dumb things, if he started talking aggressively about the issues, I think he's gotten past the groping. I think he's gotten past the tapes. I think he did well in the last debate. He just needs to have some discipline. And so far he's showing no signs of having learned from his mistakes.
Our guest is...
That's what scares me.
That's what scares all of us, Dick. Listen, you gave me some hope. Anyway, Dick Morris, the book is Armageddon, How Trump Can Beat Hillary. Dick Morris, thank you very much for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it. There you go. Dick Morris, ladies and gentlemen, back after this.